All right. Good morning to those of you. Or so good morning. Wow. Here we go, guys. Good afternoon to those of you on the East Coast. Good morning to those of you on the West Coast. I'm your host, Brandon Troy, host and co-creator of Movers and Shakers Unlimited. Thanks so much for joining us wherever you are watching from. As you well know, we have this series known as SDCC Peeps. We had one just before, and again, it's the idea behind it is to be able to commemorate the friendships and relationships that you have over the course of San Diego Comic-Con. I do have a couple of folks on now that I want to introduce. First up, I have Scott Cucullu, who provides his talents for Friends of CC. So let me bring him on, and we do have one other guest as well. So give me one sec. Let me bring Scott on first. Hey Scott, what's going on, man?
Hey, I'm doing good, Brendan. Hey everyone, how you doing?
All right, so we do have one other guest hopping on. I know they were having some technical glitches or what have you. So should they once they're able to clear that up, I'll bring them on as well. But first off, man, how have you been? And it's been as I've said, in all the other episodes, it's been an interesting year and a half. So how has it been, in that time?
Interesting year. So for sure, I'm doing well. Everyone I know is doing well. I'm hungry to go back to a convention. Just do something, even if just a normal vacation. I just want to do. Um, been paying attention to Comic Con at home right now. Watched a few panels. I watched the Dragon Ball Super movie panel.
Sure.
On I think it was Friday morning, and then that same day later I watched her Universe fashion show, which was interesting. It was I like what her fashion universe does there.
Okay.
Other than that, oh yeah, The Walking Dead, what they had yesterday. I've been watch that, and just going to the movies theater when I have a chance. That's pretty much it. And just hoping that this Delta variant that's going around everywhere maybe reached its peak and it's going to go down. Because I'm very curious how that Comic-Con special edition is going to go on in November. So, but overall, yeah, so far so good. Interesting year.
Indeed.
It's just, yeah, I don't know what else to say. It's
Yeah,
something.
definitely. Yeah, no, I hear you. And so, just as you were saying, in terms of uh, the uh, the two-parter, I guess we can say of what Comic Con is doing this year, and the virtual one as well as the live one. I'm assuming your plans are would be to attend the live one that's happening in November. However, versus what went down last year and what was provided last year, would you say that the amount of content that you have consumed or watched with the panels has been more or less or relatively the same?
I guess the same. If I want to say what I do versus what I do in person, the virtual, but it's just not the same though. It's just the virtual stuff is just missing that in-person magic, being with your friends, interacting with people in general. The fans, when you're in a panel room, that energy sometimes something goes down, it just amps it up even more. As for the November show, I'm 50-50 because of the what the time of the year hits, the turkey weekend. I
Sure.
guess, like someone said, Turkey Con.
Yes.
But that's really it. And if I go, I'll try it out, see what happens. I don't care the scale. I don't care the size. If it's even just the one little part of the convention center, that's cool. But if I don't go, I'll root for it in the background, hope for the success, see what happens. I'm pretty sure CCI is going to use whatever they did there for WonderCon and then the big show itself next July, Comic-Con. So we'll see what happens. It's been quiet so far, I guess, from CCI regarding the November show.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But I guess if everything's good, it's up to the state of California to give them the thumbs up, maybe, or the county. So we'll see. We shall see.
Okay, sounds good. Well, yes, it's definitely been interesting across the board, regardless of where people fall, whether they are an attendee, whether they are a guest, where the anticipation has been with Comic Con, because in many cases, you had that anticipation the first year around, and I feel like there has been a drop off in that regard, and I think it's just by virtue of the fact of where the headspace of society is, and the fact that we do have some live shows. So because of that, it seems like for many people, the virtual edition of Comic Con that they've had this year has kind of taken a back burner to that. I mean, it's not to say that people haven't been taking in, a lot of the programming, but in that same breath, it seemed like even though there wasn't, I feel, as much publicity surrounding that first Comic Con at home,
Mm-hmm.
I still felt that there was better attendance, if you could say attendance, or better, more buzz, if any, with that first show, because it was such a new thing, and now that people already had a picture of what that would be like, it's kind of like, okay, I'll catch it when I catch it, and it's not like, oh, like I need to watch this right now. So, as one person said, Leonard, I believe, was saying previously, earlier today, and talking about maybe in doing it this second year of providing some type of exclusivity, because I feel like a good part of Comic-Con is providing that exclusivity, and having kind of a time limit on it. What are your thoughts on that? Because, and as you say, you were watching some of the panels, and I feel like in watching a lot of those panels, you have the luxury of pausing it. You can watch whenever you want. So like, I feel like it takes so much longer to get through a lot of them.
Yeah, it does. It's like having your own DVR. You can pause it when you need to do something, resume, pick whatever you want when it's released. Going to what Leonard said, what was it again? I'm sorry.
He was going over that idea of talking about there being a some semblance of an exclusivity in the content that was consumed. So,
Oh, okay.
yeah, it would still be shown virtually. I believe he was commenting on DC fandom. So, like the fact that you could show the programming, but it was still a window in which it would be available to watch. So that way there provided some urgency or some incentive to kind of still reproduce that experience that you would have at a live show, where, you really have to make the decision of whether or not you're going to, watch or go to a certain program or not.
Okay, yeah. If it works like that, with CCI's opinion, I say go for it. More viewers when you can. Uh, I guess it's kind of like what E3 is did last summer or a few months ago. Um, we'll see.
For sure, for sure. So, with that being said, in talking about us things slowly opening up again, is there a will the November show ideally be that first live show back, or have you had a chance to? I know we were talking about it offline, at least with movie theaters, but at least with your cons, have you had a chance to go back to one? And if so, what was that experience like?
I have not. What I've been eyeing is mostly late in the year. I
Mm-hmm.
know Michael P's doing New York Comic Con. That's just too far for me and cost wise. If I do the November one again, that would be my first one. If not, it's
Okay.
going to be next year. Probably beginning with WonderCon, Star Wars Celebration, which I am ready for.
Okay.
San Diego Comic Con in July, and of course D23, because I think that's planned next year.
Gotcha.
So
And
right now it's next year,
okay, all right.
barring anything surprises.
Of course. So with that in mind, just switching gears, as I said, the fact that we have uh the breakdown of the shows this year that we have, is there, regarding not just what we have virtually this year and what we have as our a live show, as someone who is now doing media and providing content for Friends of CC, with other contemporaries that perhaps keep in touch with, what has been the feeling, or what has been the semblance of kind of the temperature of what we have with the shows this year. Like, I know I've asked you, personally, but maybe among other contemporaries, you've heard similar things, or things that have contrasted, what you expected.
So for what I expected, it's like I said, it's just without in person or anything like that interaction. It's just not the same. But
Yeah.
but hey, I'll take the online stuff if you can and everything. So
Gotcha. And with that being said, just switching gears to that idea of what we're seeing just in general with other shows that are popping up in the absence of other major live shows and other virtual shows popping up. Are there any theories that have come up for you that you are seeing, or that you feel may arise, at least from shows that you frequent, based on what we're seeing with some cons now, with the requirements that they are providing, for attendees, just to ensure that the population of all their attendees are safe. Have there been things that you have seen? I know you were talking about celebration, that you foresee, okay, this might be something that we may continue to see going forward, or maybe it's just a one-time thing.
well, for sure next year, I think masks will be required for all the shows. I mean, that's definitely going to be it. Beyond that, we'll see. Uh, Vaccination requirement, I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm.
That's a whole nother issue there, but it could be something. But social distancing, better just crowd control. But yeah, for sure, at least the mask, that's I see is going to be a big thing for next year, maybe beyond.
Okay.
So,
Okay. And um, as you say, you were commenting on repop shows, and you were commenting on
mhm.
celebration. With those, with all the shows that you, as I say, you have an opportunity to go to. Are there certain things that you have also seen in regards to um, that maybe you have seen with? I'm trying to brain farting
No
on what I
problem.
want to
No
say,
problem.
but in terms of, let's see, with some of the virtual shows that you've had a chance to attend this year, um, what has been some of the things out of what you've seen out of the virtual shows that have been interesting? Because I'm sure, like, over the course of 2020 and even this year, that of shows that haven't gone live and that have been virtual, there have been components of it that you're like, wow, that's pretty creative that they were able to develop that for this iteration of the show. Have there been any instances of that you've come across, that you feel could, that some shows that are going virtual can adopt, perhaps?
Yeah, sure. Especially the big ones like E3. They had theirs a few weeks ago, and as you saw, some developers had good, or some was just rough around the edges. So I'm just thinking, and others are just going to pay attention to that. Say, okay, don't do that, do this. Do like something like Xbox if possible. Nintendo knows how to do their thing. And then for Comic-Con, I guess when it's online, unless you do it in person, you can broadcast it virtually. Sure, do what you need to do there. But if it's like a Zoom call, why not? It does give other people opportunity to watch a panel, get more guests if possible. Um, that's it. That's pretty much it I've been seeing, and still a lot of work in progress. I understand there's a pandemic going on. People have to set this up with limited resources, being at home or going to the office, whatnot. But it's getting there. DC knows what to do with fandom so far. We'll see what they do, how they do later this year.
For sure. And one thing that has been brought up in terms of what could be coming, hopefully not, but with some shows now that we are seeing more shows pop up. What are your thoughts on that possibility of certain shows actually going live from, their experimental, virtual phase? I mean, you just mentioned DC fandom. And I've mentioned it a couple of times on a few episodes. There may very well be that possibility that we could see that actually have a live iteration if it continues on the momentum that it has. So, with that being said, how do you feel about that prospect of having yet another show to, potentially attend, considering, just as you said, going to New York is an undertaking for you, with it being on the East Coast and you being on the West Coast. And the thing that's nice about Comic-Con is that you have so many things in one place. So you don't necessarily need to, if you are being really frugal with the cons that you attend, San Diego will be a good one to go to because you may come across the same, some of the same things, not all of it, mind you, but you'll see some cross-pollination of what you're seeing at other shows also feature at Comic-Con. So if you only choose one con, that's a good con to go to.
Oh, no doubt.
So with that being said, what do you think of that prospect of potentially having to have more shows that you would be attending?
If, for example, DC wants to host its own thing in person, I wouldn't be surprised by it. It's been kind of going in that direction, I think. I believe Warner Brothers skipped 1 year at Comic-Con.
Yes.
Yeah. So maybe they feel like it's too costly to keep doing this each July. They saw how DC fandom went. It's cheaper. They know that they'll get the fans to come if it's in person. Same thing if Marvel Studios / Disney wants to do something like that. I mean, they kind of do it with D23 already, and fans go.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, overall, I wouldn't be surprised if it goes to that direction because of costs, everything else that's going on.
Cool. But if it did go in that direction, and say if you were faced with that prospect of, just as you were saying with New York Comic-Con, that maybe you have that challenge of it being on the other side of the US, perhaps, like, do you foresee that would still be something feasible that you would try to attend, or would it still be one that you would skip out on if it ended up going that way?
If it's cost and everything, I would probably skip it. Unless it's for some reason like, hey, we'll pay for everything. Sure, why not? But if it doesn't make sense in many ways, yeah, I'll just skip and focus like something like a Comic-Con next July, something like that. And I still feel like that's the show.
It is. It'll definitely be interesting to see. Some folks have been commenting on it being more localized, and it would be cool to see it actually, come full circle and get back to its roots of just being about comics. Because I know a lot of people have argued that it's ventured out into unknown territory with its influx of media and film, TV, all of those other facets that have kind of taken a bite out of that show. But one could also argue that in doing so and branching out to all those other areas, that it is also put Comic-Con in quite a other stratosphere than its other contemporary shows that I feel, yeah, a lot of them have existed and been around for a long time, but you started to see in the last couple of years that those shows, I guess, felt the pressure or the brunt of other shows having celebrity guests at their
Mm-hmm.
shows. So you started to see a lot of those shows that were specifically comics based start to sprinkle in a couple of celebrity guests. And I'm sure there
Yeah.
have been some there on the West Coast, that you have come across that you remember, like, wow, I remember when it was just comics, and it's weird that this celebrity is popping up here. Have there been some shows like that come to mind that
I want to
that
say Long Beach Comic Con when I was going to it,
yeah,
about early 2010s. It was just small. You would get some guests, some stars from some shows, but nothing major. Then I think about a year or two later, you're getting like some Agent Shield stars showing up. A few others from other major shows showing up. Like, oh wow. Of course, something bigger. You could say that Salt Lake convention that happens yearly
yeah, yeah,
that has so many stars that show up. I'm like, oh my goodness, that guest list. So there's something like that. But I haven't been to that one. But I was like, oh my goodness. But yeah, I say Long Beach. Long Beach Comic Con one probably be like that.
the major one
Started
over
out
there.
small and then like, oh wow, it's
Gotcha.
getting there.
Yeah, I was gonna say the one that comes to mind immediately here on our end here on the East Coast would be Baltimore Comic Con. Like a
Okay.
lot of it was very, very much based in comics, and I would say to a degree it still is, but you're still starting to see, I would say, in the last 2 or 3 years that it's been sprinkled in with some a couple of actors from superhero properties or from superhero TV shows. So like a lot of those CW shows or a lot of those they actually had, I'm trying to think, Zachary Levi, I want to say 2 years ago. So they do get folks in from the DCEU as well. But yeah,
Okay.
it's definitely be interesting to see how a lot of shows have responded. Now, I don't know, as I said, if it seems like it's something that has come to mind for you
It does.
about Long Beach, and maybe in doing so, with Comic-Con being going back to its roots, maybe that will have a domino effect elsewhere with our other shows, our other major shows, and doing that focus. But maybe you think different. Maybe we have passed the point of no return, and will forever have that media component. Like where would you say you fall, like in that thought?
I kind of don't care if it goes all strictly comic books. Fine by me. If it goes crazy like San Diego Comic Con with the big budget stuff, movie stars and all, I'm fine for it. I'm fine either way. I just like having fun and that whole environment. So, oh yeah, and there was another convention too that started small, Silicon Valley Comic Con, before
Yeah.
its name changed. It
Yes.
was getting some stars, some celebrities, and then the next year it just went woo. I'm like, oh my goodness, you getting that
Took
person?
off. Yeah.
Like it got the Jessica Drew, the two main stars. I'm blanking on her name, and who played Jessica Drew, and then the villain. I'm like, oh my goodness. And then it got Sam Mickelson, and it was like, what? It was great. I was like, wow. Like, yeah, it was crazy. And then I forgot what it's being called now, but because of the name change. But yeah, that was another one. Started small, little guest star, guest showing up, and it just exploded.
For sure.
But yeah, overall, whatever it is, I'll eat it up. I do like visiting artist alleys. Whatever conventions I go to, I love art. I love talking to the artists and everything. So that I always will try to visit too, and I tell people go visit the artists because you never know what you'll find, and you can buy it, hang it up, and just keep looking at it. Because I have some art pieces, and I love them.
For
like
sure.
Right there, got it from my first Comic-Con. That Spider-Man right there drawing. So I know it's kind of blocked, but
no, I got it.
But it's pretty cool.
Cool.
I love that stuff.
Awesome stuff. Yeah, no, I definitely second you on that. You always, that's one of the cool things about a Comic-Con in general or any con is that you have your expectations of things that you will do. There are going to be panels that you expect that you will hit. As someone who's on the media side, there are folks that you expect or assume that you will have an opportunity to speak with, or you looking to see if you can have an opportunity to speak with certain guests. And then additionally, you have those unexpected moments, which is always cool about the live shows, whether it's a happen chance a person that you meet, just on a networking in a networking capacity, or maybe just as you said, a artist, a guest that you weren't familiar with their work, and because you for whatever reason cross paths, you're able to connect and learn more about what it is that they do. So it's always awesome to have that happen, which is why I miss them so much.
Yeah, I do too. Like, I know Ton Knock, so every time he sees me, he's like, "Hey, I remember you." People like that when you visit Artist Alley. So yeah, I can't wait. Can't wait. Hoping for everything's okay for later this year and when I go next year. So, but yeah, it's just the virtual stuff is cool. It's better than nothing. But in person, totally different. Just
Definitely
special, magical. And I miss my friends too. That's another thing. Hanging out with you, everyone else I know.
Definitely, man. Definitely.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, this is cool using something like this digitally, but it's not the same.
it's not the same, man. So, like, with that being said, I feel like that's a good way to cap it off. Unfortunately, it looks like we won't be able to have our other guests hop on with us. So stay tuned, guys. I will reschedule that with another episode. But with that being said, Scott, thanks so much, man, for coming on and sharing your experiences with Comic-Con and your thoughts on Comic-Con at home. Before I let you go, can you tell folks where they can find you?
All right, you can find me on friendsofcc.com. I'm go by Mario Wario, and of course on Twitter at Scotty the Wise. Thank you for having me, Brendan. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. So, of course, you can find me, as always, Brandon Troy ENT on Twitter, Brandon Troy _ENT on Instagram. You can also find us on for Movies and Shakers Unlimited on Instagram, and Move and Shake UNLTD on Twitter. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Be safe out there, and otherwise, I will see you soon.
Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.